I think as gardeners, we can get really creative to make sure our plants survive. I'm Larissa Leath. I am a gardener. I've been a gardener for about 10 years now. And year after year, I've kind of just grown and expanded my, my expertise. And now I'm just completely obsessed with growing plants and growing my own food. My father and my mother, they both were gardeners. My dad loves collard greens, and my mom grew, tomatoes, cucumbers, things like that. So growing up throughout the years, I think I picked up the love for gardening because of my parents. Here in San Antonio, Texas, tomatoes are always a go, peppers are great, okra is good, and then potatoes for sure. Yeah, our environment here I think it's challenging to grow. Water levels are not good, so being able to have rain barrels and store water is important. Our soil, it's very rocky. We need a lot of additives. Composting, home composting is so important, so you have your own soil, and of course you save money that way because you're spending less on purchasing soil from the store. This was the first garden I put together in my front yard. I'm a front yard gardener. And I really prefer companion planting. I like to keep my soils covered as much as possible. So when that sun does hit, it stays, the moisture stays in. This guy is my Italian oregano. He is like 5 years old and he just gets bigger and bigger every year, gets completely out of control. He obviously needs a haircut, but when you can't water as often, I think it's important, the companion planting, especially with herbs that once again cover the soil. This plant will probably do very well this year. This is a black cherry tomato, just because the soil is covered. So I'm excited to see how well she does this year.
And is that, have you always had that understanding, or something that's emerged with time for you, the companion planting, or
I would
by necessity, sort of?
Yeah, I would say in the beginning I didn't companion plant. It's definitely something I've learned over the years. You'll see some oyas I have, and those are great obviously for watering, so you don't have to water every day. But if you can't purchase a ton of oyas, definitely consider something like this. So it grows around your plant and covers your plant. I think as gardeners we can get really creative to make sure our plants survive.
Talk to me about the soil amendments a little bit.
There's a couple of things I do. I'll bury scraps directly into the garden. And every Friday, Fertilizer Friday, that's how I remember. Yeah. Seaweed, sea kelp, horticultural molasses is really good. It is just the things you kind of pick up over the years,
10 years is a long time to
I know.
be working in this space.
And I think if someone inundated me with everything that I know now when I first started gardening, I don't think I would still be gardening because I think I would have been overwhelmed. But now it kind of just comes kind of naturally. My asparagus is kind of crazy, but I get a decent amount of asparagus. But lots and lots of tomatoes. The grapes do really well here. I don't remember the variety, but they're like these massive green grapes. And y'all have to see the artichoke. He is 5 years old and he was twice this size. I took a photo right before Snowvid hit. He was probably about up here. Gorgeous, gorgeous plant. And then, of course, he died all the way down, but he comes back every year. And the blooms of artichoke are the most beautiful thing. So I really don't like to pick them. I love the bees to have them. It's like this, highlighter purple. I can't explain the color. Yeah. It's just gorgeous. It's almost like extraterrestrial, I don't know. So I love for the bees to enjoy it. But this year I'll probably pick my artichoke.
What do you feel like are the keys to success with artichoke? And
I give them a lot of coffee grounds. I'll go to Starbucks or whatever coffee shop and I'll get their coffee grounds and I just put it right underneath and I'll water it every now and then, but he comes back every year. I have a rain barrel here and over there and I have some oyas, so I just fill the oyas up. They last at least a week. Once they're established, I'll water maybe twice a week. If it's really hot and they're looking sad, then I'll give them a little extra. I utilize a lot of grow bags. Grow bags for me do really well. I use the grow bag on top of soil so the roots can still go through, because grow bags can dry out. And so I'll dig a little hole and I'll put some like mushroom compost down and I'll put the grow bag right on top, and then I'll let the plants do their thing. This is actually hot compost bin. So if I were to kind of like shovel through it, you would see the steam come out, because everything that's decomposing right now is creating all that heat. But I also have red wiggler worms in here, but they're smart enough not to be cooked. So they're kind of like on the bottom, on the sides, on top. And then I'll fish them out, right, and put them in the buckets and let them eat whatever food I put in the buckets for them. But for someone who's new at gardening and doesn't want to be overwhelmed, I feel as long as they have a bin and they're throwing their food scraps in that bin and they're taking time to turn it once a week, that food is going to break down, and then they'll be able to have compost. And you'll see a huge difference from your own like homemade compost soil compared to what you get at the store. My plants look better when it's my own. Yeah. You don't need a lot of space to grow, but you need what we talked about, right? The good soil, the water, the time. And yeah, you could actually make some money on the side as well, because people like to know where their food's coming from. I think people like to have a relationship with like the actual seller. People like to know that their food is not filled with chemicals. I don't use any chemicals. I'm 100% organic, natural, you know, so I think people rather spend money knowing that it's local and it's safe, you know? But anyone can do this. If they just wanted to take some time to learn a couple of gardening principles, anyone can do it. And I encourage everyone to grow something, even if it's a fruit tree. Like, just plant a fruit tree. It'll change your life.
All right, y'all, thanks for spending some time in the garden with me and Larissa Leath, maybe better known around here as the San Antonio Soil Sister. This video is part of a series that I've partnered on with Nourished Produce to highlight the incredible growers, gardeners, and food stewards of San Antonio and Central Texas, so we can all feel a little more connected to where our food comes from. Believe it or not, Larissa, who we just heard from, grows so much in her front yard garden that she's become one of Nourished Produce's local producers, selling things like her tomatoes right back into our city's food system. With the support of folks like Amina Thomas, a friend of mine who's the founder of Nourished Produce, she's part of a growing hyper-local economy that's bringing real food closer to real San Antonians and Central Texans. So if you are in the San Antonio area, please check out Nourished Produce's memberships, of which I have one. For just $25 a year, you get access to their seasonal subscription program, and you can place weekly orders from local providers, just like Larissa, with pickup or delivery options available. So all the info is linked in the description below, or you can hustle over yourself to nourishedproduce.com. And if you want to keep up with Larissa and learn more from her garden, follow her at the San Antonio Soil Sister on Instagram. Thanks again for watching, y'all, and here's to growing more right where we are.